Once a Raider, bruh, always a Raider, bruh. Shit simple as that. You look silver and black. Lot of bread invested in that old line. Car insurance cost all of them.
What is going on, Raider Nation? What is going on? It is your boy Darian coming to you live with another video. It is the Spotlight Raiders Talk. Shout out to all the subscribers that have subscribed to the YouTube page. If this is your first time ever being at our YouTube page, I would suggest that you subscribe and hit the bell button and get the latest news and all Raiders news. But we're back here with another Raiders video. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Week 11 matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, you know, a lot of news did come out yesterday coming down to where almost 7 to 8 players are on the COVID-19 list on our defensive side of the ball. Now, the list did come out, but it's not confirmed they're ruled out for this game. They still have to be tested and still have to see if they can play in this week's game. But we're going to get into the preview. Even though that happened yesterday, we still have to play a game, and we still have to play this game on Sunday Night Football at the end of the day. So let's get into the 3 things to watch. 3 things to watch in this Week 11 matchup. And shout out to justblogbaby.com, because justblogbaby.com, I read the article already, and they already stated that this is the 3 things that you need to watch in Week 11. I do agree with this article here, but I wanted to bring it to y'all as well. So here are the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Las Vegas Raiders. 3 things to watch in Week 11. Let's get down to it. It is the Chiefs Raiders preview. Let's go. And the first reason, and the first thing that we definitely need to watch here, the thing that we need to watch is that Andy Reid record coming off of a bye week. Chiefs head coach Andy Reid always his best coming off of a bye week. The offensive genius supposedly benefits from the additional time to study his opponent's weakness and devise a game plan to take a full advantage. While quite the devious as a Bill Belichick, the numbers seem to back up and claim that Reid is taking advantage of the extra study time. Now, including in the postseason, Reid is 24-5, coming off of a bye week in his 22-year career as a head coach with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. 3 of those losses have came in the 7 years with KC, and so speaks how dominant that his Eagles teams were, at least in the regular season. If we care enough, we could praise through the years to see if some of that beating up on poor opponents or taking down the good teams, in the simple fact that Reid teams win much more often than they lose after a bye week. The Raiders have been on the wrong end of a few of those defeats in recent years, and they will need to be their best to reverse this trend on Sunday night. Sweeping the division opponents is hard enough, but it's made more difficult considering how explosive the Chiefs can be on both sides of the ball. We could tell the tone of the press conference this week that the Chiefs respect and maybe even fear the Raiders after the win in the year. Regardless of the result, it's great to see a rivalry heated up a bit. Now, I gotta say, I have to agree with this. Like, Andy Reid coming off of a bye week is really tough to try to beat him. 22-4, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 24-5. I'm sorry, 25-4, coming off of a bye week in 22 years as a coach in the NFL. Can't be mad at it. But at the same time, we did beat them back in Week 5, and you know they're going to be looking at what adjustments they need to be made going into Week 11 matchup. Mind you, we are at home, and we have to see for ourselves, like, what's going to happen here as far as, like, the scheme, and knowing that all those players are going to be off the COVID-19 list. We just don't know what's going to happen in that. But I do agree, we definitely got to change the narrative when it comes to Andy Reid coming off of a bye week. Definitely. All right, and the second thing that we definitely do need to watch here going into this Week 11 matchup is, can the Raiders really beat up on Patrick Mahomes again? The Raiders pass rush was able to sack the KC quarterback 3 times and register a 5 quarterback hits in a testy affair. Mahomes was able to break and contain several times and rush for 21 yards and a touchdown, but he also had the worst game of his career in terms of completion percentage, so the rush clearly impacted this game. Still managed to throw for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns, but his interception in the late game as a result of the pressure in his face, what was swung the game in the favor of the Raiders. The rush also kept Mahomes from hitting his targets downfield and kept his air yards per attempt to only 7.79, well below his season where he averaged 9.6. It's no secret that getting consistent pressure on a QB is the best way to slow him down, but even if he's more difficult, consider on how slippery Mahomes can be and how dangerous he can be out the pocket. The Raiders countered by having Arden Key as a spy on Mahomes and rushing 3, and it worked well in week 5, but the Chiefs have certainly come up with a counter of their own in that strategy. Stopping Mahomes is an unedible task, but he is probably keeping Paul Guntner up at night this week. But at least the Raiders have something of a blueprint to look back on and hopefully build on this next matchup. I have to agree. We have to beat up Patrick Mahomes again. We have to get that pressure. If he's going to rush 3 and have a QB spy with Arden Key and have everybody else drop back, I'm actually fine with that. I think Paul Guntner should not change that narrative or change that style of defense against Patrick Mahomes. Don't go back to what you did against the Browns or go back and what you did last week, but those quarterbacks are not Patrick Mahomes. Gotta say it. Those quarterbacks are not Patrick Mahomes as well, and we have to make sure that he is sustained. He throw for 340 yards. We could completely understand that. But if we could keep them out the end zone and we could go blow for them on the offensive side and the defense can do their job, we could definitely win this game. So that is the second thing that you have to watch for in this game. And the third and final thing that you have to look for in this preview, in this Week 11 matchup, will either team have anything close to their starting offensive line? Earlier this week, the Chiefs has announced that they placed offensive tackles Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz on the COVID-19 2019 reserve list as close contacts to other players who tested positive for the virus. This means that they could play on Sunday after following the protocol, but if they test positive, they could be held out. This also means they will not be able to practice with the team this week and would have attended to all activities virtually. The Raiders, on the other hand, in Week 10 game against the Denver Broncos, backup left tackle and backup left guard, and practice squad player at right tackle, they all also had problems of their own. Left tackle Colton Miller was doubtful for the week in Week 10's game, so it's possible he returns this week, and starting guard Richie Incognito has reportedly been close to returning for weeks, so that might pay off as well. If both teams are down a bunch of backups, and then the advantage of the pass game is with the Kansas City Chiefs, considering the pass rushers and they had their success and they had this season with the 6th most pressures in the NFL, and that's against the Raiders in Week 5. The Kansas City defense sacked Carr just once but registered 4 hits, and that was all the starters on the offensive line minus Incognito. The Raiders have taken a different approach with their offensive line injuries and dialed back up the clock in the old school run heavy offense and had a great success with it. In the previous game, the Raiders rushed for over 140 yards, and that trend should continue against the Kansas City Chiefs, which is the 5th worst rush defense in terms of yards allowed. Regardless who is lined up in front of each quarterback on both teams, will stick to their identities and find workarounds to maintain success, and they have this season. Even with the backup and third string offensive linemen, for the Raiders to win this game, they would need to control the clock and keep the explosive offense off the field. Rolling out a fully healthy offensive line would be great for the first step in achieving that. Now, I have to say this. When it comes to that, we have to stay to our identity. And we have to stay to our identity just because we ran the ball pretty effectively against the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 5. If we can keep this team off the field, especially their offensive line, if we can keep them off the field, we could definitely win this game. I am still nervous about this game due to the fact that all of our defensive players, 8 of 11 of our defensive players are on the COVID-19 reserve list. Don't know what to say about that. That's going to be really tough to try to sustain having a lot of backups coming in. Mind you, we still have Damon Arnett. We still have Max Crosby. Cleveland Farrell, that's really a big loss for us. And we got Vic Beasley coming in as well. So you just never know what you're going to get with them. So at the end of the day, I still think that we can go be at home and be comfortable in our home and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And this is going to be another high-scoring game, in my personal opinion. I will say it's going to be 37-21. 37, no, not even 21, 37-31. 37-31. Raiders definitely get the win in week 11 if we improve to 7-3, just because I feel like we can sustain the clock. And I still think that we still have an offensive line that can help Derek Carr out, and I hope these receivers can play well as well, because these receivers did not play well last week, and I definitely need them to step up in this game if we want to win and go blow for blow with the Kansas City Chiefs. So that is my final, ladies and gentlemen. That is my final. 37-31 Raiders over the Kansas City Chiefs. Let me know what you think about this video, Raider Nation. Let me know what you think. Put your predictions down in the comments below. Comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. It's the Spotlight Raiders Talk, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.
Once a Raider, bruh, always a Raider, bruh. Shit simple as that. You look silver and black. Lot of bread invested in that O-line. Car insurance cost the arm and the leg to reach that goal line. It's go time.